Headlines most affecting Abbotsford this week. 2 young people in trouble. They were brandishing fake guns. Damages to Canada Post mailboxes. Abby Cat Daddy needs your help with what else? Cats. And Nick Taylor winning big in the playoffs in Hawaii. Alex will have more in sports. Our guests this week include Logan Bryan with Abby Cat Daddy. All right, Abbotsford, let's get started. Last week, Abbotsford police responding to 2 separate weapons calls involving youth pointing and threatening people with what we thought were guns. The youths were arrested in both cases, charged with, and charges are being recommended to Crown. Those guns turned out to be BB guns, and police say the replicas were quite convincing. Last November, Mission RCMP notified the public about a break-and-enter that occurred in Hatzick on November 14th. Over a dozen firearms, jewelry, and other items were allegedly stolen from a property. Then on January the 7th, officers from Abbotsford Police and the Upper Fraser Valley Regional RCMP, as well as Mission RCMP, responded to a break-and-enter on a farm property at 3 Road in Abbotsford. A black Dodge Grand Caravan attempted to flee. Officers successfully arrested both occupants. So both men were charged in relation to the break-and-enter. Then on the same day, one of those men, a 32-year-old, Clayton Pierce of Mission, was also charged with the B&E that was back in November in Hatzick. Are you still following? Over the weekend, Canada Post mailboxes were targeted in the McKee neighborhood. A white or light-colored Ford truck was seen literally pulling mailboxes off of their foundations, loading them onto the back of the truck, and then taking off. Abbotsford police are currently investigating. They have recovered a number of dumped mailboxes in North Abbotsford. Abby PD asking the public to report any suspicious activity around any Canada Post mailbox. And if you have information on these thefts or the suspect vehicle, you're asked to call police. Independent Investigations Office of BC investigating an arrest that resulted in the injury of one man. Information provided by Abbey Police saying that on Boxing Day night, they received a call regarding a domestic dispute involving a man and a woman. The caller told police that the man and woman had gone into different units in an apartment building in the 2000 block of Eleanor Avenue. When officers arrived to speak to the man, it's reported that he attempted to leave. The man was arrested and taken to a local hospital for treatment of a non-life-threatening injury. So, IIO is looking into the case to see if excessive force was not used or if it was used. Black press reporting that 2 men involved in a home invasion in Abbotsford in June of 2023 were sentenced on Monday after pleading guilty on what was supposed to be the first day of their trial. Matthew Roy and Alexander Sladezek both pleaded guilty to aggravated assault and assault with a weapon. At the time, Abbey police were notified that there was a home invasion in progress. When they arrived, Roy was arrested when he responded to a demand to leave the building. Sladezek escaped through a back window, but he was later arrested. Self-proclaimed family man Bryan had a great start to the year after learning that he won a Set for Life top prize with BCLC of $675,000. The Abbotsford man bought his ticket at the Walmart. When asked what he plans to do with the cash, he said, and it does sound cliche, but hey, I'm going to take the family to Disneyland. Abby Cat Daddy, the Feline Advocate Society, is a local cat rescue with TNR programs. That's trap, neuter, and return. The focus is on local community cats within the Fraser Valley. The founder, Logan Bryan, is going to join us in a moment to explain what the society does and how you can help. So, coming up, our interview with the founder of Abby Cat Daddy and golfer Nick Taylor shining in Hawaii. Alex will have sports in just a few minutes. This week continues with Logan Bryan with Abby Cat Daddy. It is a really cool organization, a society that's been around for a while. Now, even though it's Abby in the title, What do you do and how does this involve the entire Fraser Valley?
So we do a lot of different things, but our main areas are Mission, Abbotsford, and Chilliwack. Those are our catchment zones, but we do cat rescue, TNR, which is trap, neuter, return. So we are spaying and neutering cats and putting them back on the farms because not every cat can go into a home. And we also support with our spay and neuter program. So we do those. We do adoptions, and we do other small programs as needed.
One of the ugly questions that has to be asked is, How much? Because spaying, neutering, it doesn't come cheap.
No, it doesn't. It's runs between, like, for us at rescue prices, it's like $150 to $200 per cat, depending on the situations. Last year we did a 46 TNRs and we adopted out 81 cats, but we also did an intake of 123 cats. And then we also helped transfer other cats around. So yeah, lots of money.
And still with that, because there will always be somebody going, I can't afford to do this.
Yep.
How do they pay for it? Or is there a deferral? Is there any grant money that is available?
Yeah. So unfortunately, there isn't actually a lot of grants. The SPCA removed their grant programs that we had reached out to before. And there really isn't any welfare grants anymore in Canada. But we do a lot of fundraising. Our spay and neuter program is only $165 to start with. If there's rabies shots are needed or anything like that, it gets a little bit pricier, but average is $165, which is fairly reasonable, especially when you look at the rest of the valley. Like, you can go to clinics in Mission or Langley and it's at $300 to $500 a cat.
Okay.
And that's just your basics. So $165, $400 average, like, it's a big difference. We don't get to do deferrals because I have to pay for that surgery at the time.
Yeah.
And as a nonprofit, I can't just eat every cost, right? So payment has to be made beforehand, and then we can book the surgeries. But we do, some people will do a payment plan over a couple of weeks, and then once they're paid in full, they get the voucher.
Now, you mentioned nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is this a charity as well? Do you get a receipt for a donation?
So right now we're not charity status.
Okay.
But we have applied. It just takes 6 to 11 months. I think next month is when we get our first notice. So whatever that means, I'm not really sure. But
waiting on the paperwork. Yeah.
Yep. End of February, we get the first notice of our application, and then hopefully after that, if there's no more notices, and we can just do it. But we'll wait and see.
Are you getting any help from veterinary societies or vets, private vets, or?
So our main veterinarian is actually Riverwood, and she's in Poco. She is an amazing doctor. I love her. She came to us, she saved my cat before I opened the rescue.
Yeah.
So that's how we made our connection, and she's been phenomenal. So we use her for all of our internal cats. And then we work with 2 clinics in Abbotsford for our spay and neuter and our TNR programs.
So getting a hold of you, you're all over social media?
Yes. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever it's called now. Email is the easiest one, but Facebook is the most common.
Okay. Logan, Bryan, Abby Cat Daddy. I love that title.
Yes. It's a good name.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
You're watching This Week.
Hey Abbotsford, I know you like some sports, and I got some for you. And starting in golf, where Mr. Nick Taylor delivered another theatrical finish on Sunday. This time chipping in for eagle on the 18th hole to force a playoff at the Sony Open in Honolulu, and winning with a superb short game to set up birdie, defeating Colombia's Nico Echevarria. The clutch Canuck pocketed $1.5 million US in the win. He shot rounds of 66, 68, 65, and 65 to capture the title. Taylor also earned 500 FedEx Cup points with the win. Thanks to PGA Canada for the photo. Curlers mark the calendar for next year as the 2026 Mixed Doubles Curling Championship has been awarded. Curl BC says this will be at the Abbotsford Curling Club from January 14th to 18th. More information can be found through Curl BC and the Abbotsford Curling Club. In basketball, the 33rd annual RCMP Basketball Classic High School Tournament began last weekend and wraps up on Sunday at the Langley Event Center. This popular event started back in 1992 and was created in partnership between the officers of the Surrey RCMP and the Surrey School District. The tournament aims to bring together students through friendly yet competitive games, while also creating positive interactions between police and youth. With humble beginnings, the inaugural RCMP Classic ran with 8 schools competing. This year's tournament will host a total of 48 teams. Over to college volleyball. The second half of the 2024-25 UFV sports schedule is underway, with men's volleyball setter Silas Van Weesen having the UFV offense rolling on Saturday as the Cascade men's volleyball team finished off the weekend sweep with a 3-0 25-18, 25-19, and 25-18 win over the MacEwan University Griffins. The win pushes the Cascades to 4-6 on the season, while the Griffins drop to 0-12. The Cascades now return home for a pair of matchups with the Calgary Dinos on January 17th and 18th at the UFV Athletic Center. On the basketball side, in UFV women's basketball, Bernie Lita career best 18 points and 7 rebounds, leading the UFV Cascades to their second win of the weekend as they took down the TRU Wolfpack 67-32 on Saturday afternoon at the UFV Athletic Center. The win moves UFV to 9-3 on the season, while TRU falls to 0-12 in Canada West play. The men's team dropped an 83-74 decision to TRU on Saturday. The loss sees the Cascades boys' record move to 5-7 on the season, while TRU improves to 6-6. The teams sit 4th and 3rd in the Pacific Division, respectively. The Cascades head on the road for a pair of games against the UBC Thunderbirds on January 17th and 18th. That has been your Abby TV Sports Update. I'll see you at the game. Coming up, Cari with the weather.
Abby TV weekend weather. So, Cari, does this unusual January weather stick around?
Our weather for this weekend is looking really great. Sun most of the whole weekend with a few cloudy periods, temperatures up to about 5 degrees. In the evening, though, getting down to below 0, down to -2, so it's going to be a little bit chilly. Next week, though, still really nice sunny weather with a few cloudy periods, temperatures getting up to about 5 degrees. Winter's here, but it's just barely. I actually saw some blossoms on the trees the other day. Here's another fun fact about January. Although January is our first month, it was actually the last month to be added to the 12-month Roman calendar. Have a great week, everyone. Back to you, Don.
Thanks, Cari, and thank you for watching. If you have a local news story you'd like us to report on, you can always send us a note to news@chilltv.ca. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a great weekend. I'm Don Lehn.